Hi and welcome back to my channel Exploring New Year. Previously I made a video about the different types of visas that allows you to bring your family to New Zealand. And in one of the visas I mentioned, I talked about the culturally arranged marriage visitor visa. The culturally arranged marriage visitor visa, it's not a type of visa on its own. It doesn't have a name. Do you understand? It's still a visitor visa, but under the circumstances, you're going to explain that you are coming to New Zealand or you are visiting New Zealand because you have been involved in a culturally arranged marriage with a New Zealand citizen or a New Zealand resident, right? I hope you understand that. Let's say you're visiting New Zealand as a tourist. There are different reasons why we come to New Zealand under the visitor visa category, right? You can come as a tourist. And if you're coming to New Zealand as a tourist, you have to have genuine intentions, in which your intention is to come to New Zealand as a tourist, and you're going to provide documents to back that up, right? So the same thing applies to this visitor visa based on the culturally arranged marriage. You're coming to visit New Zealand to be able to stay with your partner, and then while explaining your circumstance, that is when you're now going to state that you've been involved in a culturally arranged marriage, and then you're coming to visit your partner in New Zealand, which will require you to provide documentations to back that up, right? You said you are saying that you're coming to New Zealand to visit your partner under a culturally arranged marriage circumstance. So you're going to provide documentation, statements to be able to back that up, because you will still need to meet the requirements for a genuine visitor visa. All right. So this visa allows you to visit New Zealand, to live with a New Zealand citizen or resident that you have agreed to marry, which means that for you to obtain this visa, you must have met the person, right? Meet the person through a family member. Remember I said that this must be arranged either by a family member or a matchmaker. All right, so you must have met the person, dated the person before agreeing to marry that person, right? So this type of marriage typically follows an identified cultural tradition, where the marriage arrangement is made by people who are not parties or participants to the marriage. That is, the marriage arrangement must be made by someone other than you or your partner. Example, it can be a family member or a matchmaker. I mentioned that earlier, right? So this type of visa provides individuals who have met and undergone a traditional cultural ceremony, but who have not lived together. You have not lived together. You've undergone a traditional cultural ceremony, okay, but you have not lived together, okay? So this visa provides you with an opportunity to come to New Zealand to live together. When you live together with your partner, it will help you to satisfy immigration partnership visa requirements. Do you understand? So living together, this visa now, coming to New Zealand under this culturally arranged visitor visa, now allows you to come to New Zealand and meet live with your partner. And living together with your partner is a requirement for you to now qualify for a partnership visa in New Zealand. Do you understand that? And for you to apply for this partnership-based visa, you and your partner would have been living together for some time, right? That's why you're applying for that visitor visa under the culturally arranged marriage circumstances, right? So you're now going to use this visitor visa, come to New Zealand to be able to live with your partner so that you can fulfill one of the requirements for partnership visa, which is you must be living together, right? I hope you understand this, please. And before this partnership visa can be granted, that relationship must be a genuine relationship, right? It must be a genuine and stable relationship before that partnership visa can be granted. I hope you got that explanation. So people from other countries who have agreed to marry a New Zealand citizen or resident can apply for a culturally arranged marriage visitor visa. And under this visa, all right, under this visa, you are still considered a genuine visitor visa applicant, okay? And so you will still need to meet the health and character requirements, be genuine visitors to New Zealand, comply with their visa conditions, and then leave New Zealand at the end of your stay. Even though you may seek to remain in New Zealand longer term, you will still need to satisfy this, okay? So this visa is a 3-month visa. I'll be leaving the link to the New Zealand website for you to go read up, all right? So this visa is a 3-month visa, and it's going to allow you to begin living with your partner in New Zealand. So with this visa, you can come to New Zealand to get married, and you can also come to New Zealand after getting married overseas. Up until November 2019, the culturally arranged marriage ceremony had to take place in New Zealand. So which is to say that before November 2019, you can only come to New Zealand to get married. Okay, the culturally arranged marriage ceremony had to take place in New Zealand. But from 2019, but from November 2019 till date, you can now perform the marriage ceremony overseas, all right, before you come to New Zealand. And then when you come to New Zealand, you can now apply for a partnership visa once you live with your partner in New Zealand. Like I said earlier and in my previous video, remember that this marriage must be arranged by someone other than you or your partner, like a family member or a matchmaker, and it has to follow an identified cultural tradition. Okay, and I also mentioned that New Zealand does not have a dedicated visa category for arranged marriages, so you would apply under the visitor visa category, all right, while demonstrating the cultural context of your marriage, which is to say that the reason you are applying for a visitor visa is because of the arranged marriage. So you must provide concrete evidence that your arranged marriage is part of a recognized cultural tradition within your community. And this proof can be in form of a documentation or statements from elders or community leaders. This is for those whose marriage has taken place overseas, right? So if you're coming to New Zealand to get married, then your wedding must be within 3 months of arriving. And if you get married outside New Zealand, you must apply for your visitor visa within 3 months of your wedding. And you also need to provide full English language translations of any document that is not in the English language, and then meet the standard visitor visa requirements. Okay, and these are the documents that you will need to apply. You can come here to view all the evidence that you will need to provide in your application. I will also be dropping this link in the description box. So the first document is your identity. You must provide a valid passport or certificate of identity. These are the acceptable photos, and then these are information that you can still read up on. The next requirement is that you must be in good health, right? And these are the examinations that you have to provide, okay, as proof of your good health. If you are staying less than 6 months, you do not normally need an x-ray, a chest x-ray. But if you're staying less than 12 months, you do not normally need a medical certificate. And this is information on those who need an x-ray or medical examination. You can come here. This is the New Zealand website. You can come here and read more on that. Provide medical certificates if requested. You can come here and also read, and then you must be of good character. If you have a criminal conviction or are a security risk to New Zealand, we may not be able to grant you a visa. Then these are information you can read, providing police certificates, and then you can see information on how to get a police certificate. If you have already sent us a police certificate with a previous visa application and they are less than 24 months old, you do not need to send them again. Then you must provide evidence of your genuine intentions to meet the conditions of your visa. You can come here and read. Okay, when we decide if your intentions are genuine, we consider all the information you provide to support your application, your personal circumstances, and then your previous applications. These are where you can see information on genuine intentions to visit, study, or work in New Zealand. I'll be dropping the link so you can read it one after the other. Read it carefully. Okay, and these are the tips, some of the tips you can consider. Our assessment will consider your intentions for coming to New Zealand, whether your marriage is genuine and is intended to be long-term and exclusive. And you also have the culturally arranged marriage. If you're coming to New Zealand because you've been married culturally or culturally arranged, or your marriage has been culturally arranged, then it has to be by someone other than you or your partner and follow an identified cultural tradition. Okay, this is information that you can read up on to make sure that your marriage, you have to provide evidence that your marriage follows an identified cultural tradition, which may include records of any communication between the parents of the couple and any other person acting as a go-between or matchmaker, documents indicating that the arrangement or ceremony is publicly recognized, that whatever marriage ceremony that has happened, it is publicly recognized. Confirmation from an independent source that the arrangement or ceremony is part of the couple's cultural customs. a written account of how the marriage was arranged, and then any other documents that show your marriage is culturally arranged. And these are the tips that you can read up on. And there is also legal impediments. Your marriage must have no legal impediments. You can read up on that. Recognition of partnership. Your partnership must meet the requirements. And these are the requirements that your partnership must meet. You and your partner must be 18 or over when you apply. And if you are 16 or 17, you must have your parents or guardians support. And you must have met each other before you apply. I said this earlier, right? And your partner's immigration status as well. You have to also submit these documents, okay, as part of your application. Your partner must be a New Zealand citizen or resident. I mentioned this earlier as well. So these are the documents that your partner can submit: a New Zealand passport, a New Zealand birth certificate, a certificate of New Zealand citizenship, a New Zealand residence class visa, and then your partner's character as well. Your partner must be of good character. The next thing is that your partner must be an eligible New Zealand supporting partner, because he or she has to support your application, and then be eligible to also support a partnership-based resident visa or resident application later, all right? And forms, okay, you can come here and read up on that as well. These are the requirements if your partner is to support your partnership visa. These are the requirements. And the next is that you must have enough money to live on while you are in New Zealand, or have an acceptable sponsor. This is the amount that you will need. Okay, everything is here on the New Zealand website, and this is the evidence that you have to provide: proof of accommodation, prepayments like hotel, prepaid vouchers or receipts, bank statements, credit card statements, bank drafts, traveler's checks, or a sponsorship form for temporary entry completed by an acceptable sponsor. That is, if you are sponsored. Okay, these are the criteria for some of them. And then onward travel. Of course, this is a visitor visa, right? So you must have a ticket to leave New Zealand or enough funds to purchase one. You must show this in your proof of funds as well, or be sponsored for the cost of your onward travel. You can also bring dependent children with you if you have any children. And English translations, you must provide certified English translations of any documents that are not in English language. I mentioned it earlier. So when you click on that, you're going to see more information on supporting documents. That's translating your supporting documents to the English language. Okay, you can all read up on this. You can read up on all of this. Okay, for you to bring children, they have to, of course, be in good health. You are your children's parents or legal guardian, or children's identity, and then your proof of your relationship to your children. All these are evidence that you have to include in your application when coming to New Zealand, a visitor visa. But in this case, it is culturally arranged visitor visa, right? So it's saying that you still have to meet all of these requirements of a visitor visa for you to be granted that visa, okay? And these are the process and costs, and you also see information on how to submit your application. These are conditions that you must meet once you have your visa. I'll be leaving this link, like I said earlier, so you can read up more, okay, and then understand better. All right, so this is it for this video. If you have any questions, please drop it in the comment section and I will definitely reply you. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end, and I will see you in my next video.